AITA for not waking my sister up? Originally posted by you, a bad brother in R. Am I the Asshole on April 14, 23. Update undated. An NBSP. AITA for not waking my sister up? April 14, 23. An NBSP. AITA for not waking my sister up? I, 19M, have two siblings, AJ, 24M, and Kaylee, 15F. Our dad died when Kaylee was a baby. Our mom has worked hard ever since. She definitely has leaned on AJ a lot, and I try to help when I can to alleviate that pressure. In spite of this, AJ has still taken on a lot of responsibility. Kaylee is pretty responsible, but she cannot get up on time to save her life. She'll get up but then hit snooze. She's tried all the tricks. Alarm across the room. Those apps on your phone where you have to solve math equations. She just won't get up. I think part of the problem is AJ will always wake her up. I've said this isn't healthy. What happens when he moves or she goes to college? She's too old. That she probably would learn if he didn't do this. My mom and AJ have said there's nothing wrong with it. So, I let it go. AJ is in grad school. He decided to crash at a friend's dorm one night as they attended a party. He told me ahead of time to wake Kaylee up, as our mom goes into work early and I'm up at that time for work. I said he knows how I feel about this. He told me it won't kill me and walked away. Yesterday morning, I heard Kaylee's alarms as I got ready. I decided to let her learn. I left and she was still sleeping. She takes the bus, so if she got up within the next 15 minutes, she'd be okay. Around 10, my cell rings. It's my mom freaking out. She got a call saying that Kaylee never showed at school. I panicked momentarily, then remembered. I told my mom to check at home. Sure enough, Kaylee was at home, still sleeping. My mom woke her up and took the rest of the day off. She had been terrified something terrible happened. AJ blames me. Kaylee isn't mad, really just embarrassed. But AJ says I should have woken her up. I said she's 15 and it's a hard lesson. My mom isn't too upset, but she did say that at minimum I should have texted her to know that Kaylee was still asleep when I left. AITA? An NBSP. In the comments. She usually will turn it off and then go back to sleep. Usually, when AJ hears her first alarm, he'll go in and wake her up and then make sure she actually gets out of bed. She knew AJ was going to be gone and she knows how I feel. But I admit I didn't warn her that I would do this. I thought it was implied, but maybe I was wrong. I've told her several times before that she's a big girl and needs to start waking up on her own. AJ then tells me I'm bullying her and to leave his baby sister alone. I admit I didn't say it that night, but she saw AJ leave for the party and he said he wouldn't be back in the morning. My mom said she was leaving by 5:30 a.m. for work. Kaylee is more than aware that she has to be outside for the bus by 7 a.m. So maybe I was an ass for not specifically saying it that night. I've lived with several people who have never learned how to get up on their own because there is always someone who enables their poor behavior. I entertained some of these people, but it gets old. It's frustrating and annoying having someone rely on you getting them up and then acting like assholes when you don't. You get them an atomic alarm clock. They sell them on Amazon. They have a decibel level of 80 plus and come with a mattress vibrator to shake the bed as well. I'll look into that and ask if she wants it. Her not being able to wake up and you being asked to wake her up are two different issues. You needed to have said something to anyone if you knew you weren't going to do it. I can concede there. That seems to be all my mom is concerned about. She wouldn't have panicked when getting the call if she knew Kaylee potentially wouldn't wake up. Judgment. Not the asshole. An NBSP. Update. I want to thank everyone for giving their input. Whether or not I'm the here seems to vary. But what sunk is that I could have handled it better in the moment, as well as afterwards. I should have, at minimum, texted my mom to say that Kaylee was still asleep, so she could handle it from there. To those who keep saying she could have a sleep disorder, she doesn't. My mom took her to be evaluated when this began. It truly is because she never took accountability. So, I planned to talk to everyone, but then Kaylee came to me. She apologized if she got me in any trouble. I told her she didn't and we all handled things poorly. She said she feels so embarrassed for all the trouble she caused. I told her she's young. We all scare our parents at one point. I took her to get Starbucks and we had a long talk about everything. I helped her make a plan for how she could get out of bed easier and also tips on how to go to sleep earlier. For waking up, she's getting one of those alarm clocks that shake the bed. She also added that she only kept doing this because she knew AJ would always bail her out. Kaylee confided in me that she hates how AJ and my mom can baby her sometimes and she knows it keeps her held back in some areas. I encouraged her to talk to them about it and said I was proud of her. When we got back, I apologized to my mom and AJ for my part. I also pointed out what a few of you said. The three of us are arguing over it as if Kaylee's not an equal player. I explained what we talked about and our plan. AJ was hesitant on if this was too harsh, but my mom and I both told him it was for the best. Kaylee ended up coming in at one point and told him that it's what she wanted. He admitted he was having a hard time letting go of his responsibilities. We agreed. Should this happen again, I will call our mom to give her a heads up, so she can handle the situation. I know Kaylee and AJ also had a separate, private conversation about him babying her so much. I don't know what was said, but from the looks of it, he's receptive to at least start backing off a little. I know it'll take time, given how parentified he's been. So, at the end of the day, we all promised to do better. I don't know how the new plan is going to work out, as it's only Saturday, but the fact that everyone is willing to try is promising. An NBSP. I'm anticipating a lot of comments about parentification, so I wanted to include this comment from Op. My mom has told us that she is fine with us moving out and now that Kaylee is over. Editor's note. I think he meant over a certain age. There's less to worry about. AJ is moving out next year after completing grad school, so she won't be able to rely on him as much. And I'm going to be real. I have never done as much as AJ and she doesn't expect me to. An NBSP. Reminder. Do not comment on the original posts or contact the original poster. I am not the original poster. This is a repost. Welp. Time for me to get a bed shaker. My alarm plays a random song and makes me solve a simple puzzle. And yet, brother sounds like he genuinely cares about helping take care of his sister. And mom sounds like a mom who appreciates the help but doesn't expect it. She's never expected Oop to do anything and doesn't expect either boy to remain at home to care for the sister. There's a difference between parentification and a family working together to make it through a hard time. Losing your partner right after having your third baby cannot have been easy. As someone who could not wake up most of my life, I understand what Kaylee is going through. I also used to try all the waking up tricks, but nothing worked. It's very difficult to be rational and responsible when you're unconscious. I was chronically late to every job I ever had. The only reason I wasn't fired is because I am always good at what I do. But I can't say my bosses were ever happy with me for not being able to do what everyone else seemed to manage effortlessly. I think I didn't manage to conquer it until I got some serious time off work and didn't have major daily stress any longer. I switched to an alarm clock that uses randomized music and it helps prevent my brain from ignoring the sound every morning. I also try to get enough sleep regularly. He's young too, just 19. Sometimes people don't make the right decisions in the heat of the moment. I'm glad everyone got to talk about it and got their opinion out and they found a solution. He had good intentions. The real problem here is the 7 a.m. bus time. Teenagers have been shown time and time again to need more morning sleep than children or adults. There has recently been a big movement lately to push back start times for high school. It's recommended to start middle and high after 8:30 a.m. This poor girl's school probably has a 7:30 start time. Of course she can't get up. She is chronically sleep deprived. https www.sleepfoundation.org/schoolandsleep/latter-school start times. Some people, like myself, just aren't morning people. It is definitely something that you can learn to live with. I had a job for years where I had to be in at 4 a.m. But for many people it will always just suck having to get up before 10 a.m. I know Oops says she was evaluated for a sleep disorder, but a lot of places don't look at delayed phase sleep disorder, which looks similar to this. I had the same problem. My solution was a lamp beside my bed and a timer to turn it on when my alarm rings. Kaylee sounds like she's got two really awesome big brothers to have on her side. I have never and will never be a morning person. Solidarity on the alarm snoozing. My hubby's best mate was terrible. They had a minor kitchen fire once. Fire alarm went off. Fire service arrived with sirens blaring. Went in and put out the fire. He slept through the whole thing. Also fell asleep in a nightclub with his head in the DJ's speaker. Shaking mattress would do him no good at all. I relate to how the sister feels about being babied. I was the youngest and my family would try to help to the point I did feel like I was being held back. Even the smallest of things like carrying grocery bags. They seemed to think I could only carry small, light bags when I was an adult. It was like I was still that little girl. It's easy to just run with it and take the easy way out. But I still think her hardship of waking up needs to be further looked at. That ain't normal. Can we talk about how ducking well the mom has raised these three reasonable and well-behaved children for quite a few years by herself? Our culture is so broken in how it approaches sleep cycles. If this girl got up naturally at 5 a.m., they would all call her self-disciplined and praise her. My brain is just wired to be a night owl. I cannot for the life of me fall asleep at night without sleep aids. During the day, lights out in an hour. At night, bedtime is 5 a.m. Because of this I've always struggled to get up in the morning. It's less I can't wake up and more I can't exist during the day without maximum effort. And even if I manage to set a normal schedule, 9 p.m. 5 a.m., it will slowly shift back to 5 a.m. 9 p.m. I think she can use the design is very human. It's very easy to use. This was me in high school. I got yelled at a lot by my parents for not reading up on time, for going back to bed after I had already gotten up, for having conversations and repeating things back and still falling asleep. Then I got diagnosed with idiopathic hypersomnia and things started to make more sense. Hence why I have about none alarms go off a day and have the bed shaker as well. The only thing that I would change about the verdict is that I would judge Nah. Like he could have handled better. But, in the end, everyone agrees that something needed to change. I use my phone as an alarm. I just put it on the most obnoxious and loud sound. I live alone, and leave it on a chest a bit far from my bed. So I actually need to step out of bed to stop it. She's 15. She doesn't have a sleep disorder. She has teenager. There is real evidence that teenagers have a different circadian rhythm than children or adults. If we followed the research, which we won't, middle and high school wouldn't start before 10 a.m. and would be better starting at 11 or 12. They sleep later. They get up later. It's not about accountability or responsibility. A lot of teenagers are walking around completely sleep-deprived because they are forced to adapt to the school and workday on the circadian rhythm that works for most adults while also not handling the lack of sleep as well as an adult would because of the huge amounts of growing and developing that are happening. She's hardly the first teenager who had to be dragged out of bed for school. Getting family support for that while you're in high school is a small thing. Most people grow out of it. Op sounds like he's on a horse so high he can't see the ground. If AJ wants to baby her forever, then he needs to stay home and do it and not expect everyone else to. My brother was one of these. He'd buy super loud alarms and just sleep through them all. They'd go one for 30 minutes. They'd go on days the rest of us didn't need to get up. If you ever went into his room to turn them off, he'd get mad that he never woke. If you went in and turned them off but woke him before you left, he's never get up and then get mad. Later, you'd turn the alarm off. My parents did nothing. He was constantly in detention for being late to school. I mean, he's fine now as an adult, but my God, it was annoying when we were younger.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.